Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tech Guys Chronicles. We talk tech, we talk comparisons, we do some breakdowns. I'm Steve. This is Binh Dong.
Oh, yeah.
What are we talking about today? Today, we're going to do a little comparison about some iPads. I don't know about you, Binh, but a couple of my friends always ask me, should I purchase the new iPad Air or the newest iPad Pro 11-inch? They say, Steve, they look like the exact same tablet. So, Binh, today we'll see, are they the exact same tablet? Or, who would need either, or could a professional be good with an Air?
I'm actually in the market for one. I was looking at the iPad Airs and I was like, oh, shoot. I was looking for a regular iPad to, do some work with. Just, people have to throw away iPad. But then I saw the Airs are out and I'm like, oh, shoot. What is this? The most best thing, that's English, guys. The most best thing for the iPad Air, which I have an iPad Pro 12.9 inches, third gen, and the Apple Pencil 2 is the best thing because the Apple Pencil 1, you got to take the top off and shove that lightning connector that's on the pencil into the ass of
It's so dumb.
Yeah.
I have the I have like the 6th gen regular iPad with the Apple Pencil 1.
And if you have what do you call it? One of those iPads that you gotta, shove the iPad, the Apple Pencil version 1 into the iPad, and it's like a little I don't know, what do you call it? Like a little Teletubby. That's the one little thing out of oh my god. If you swing it too hard, it's gonna break that junk off. But anyway, we are here for the iPad Air 4th generation versus the iPad Pro 11-inch 2nd generation.
2nd gen. So we have, Binh and I, yes, we both have the comparison for the Apple website up, and we've been looking through it to see what the big differences are. Now, first thing is first, the iPad Pro 11-inch 2nd gen, according to the internets, came out March 25th of last year, and the iPad Air 4th gen came out October 23rd. So both of these devices came out last year. Obviously, one first quarter 2020, and the newest one, 4th quarter 2020. And Binh looks like, are you eating chips with a chopsticks?
I am eating chips with a chopstick.
Oh, man. Let's not stereotype too much. Yeah. So just by looking at the website straight up, you wouldn't be able to tell from the front which is which. They're exactly the same from the front.
Yes. For sure. The iPad Air, if you have an older iPad, you'll know it has a curved back, which is nice. But when they brought the iPhone 4 kind of blockiness to the iPad Pros, that was super amazing. And the iPad Air is that same form factor. And it's great. I don't know how to explain it, but it just feels like a tablet.
Yeah, it's literally like you said, the phone just bigger. I like this model better than some of the previous. Even the regular iPad standard, like mine, the 6, isn't as curved on the back as the old ones. But I digress. Some of the things that are kind of different, just by looking at it, the front is not one of those things. When you turn them around, that's when you could see a difference. The iPad Pro has the newer iPad camera, and the iPad Air does not. And what does that mean?
That means, okay, as a millennial, as people that's younger than me, I have a question. Who the hell uses the iPad to take photos? It's a very, very small group of people that does. And when you see these people, it's like, oh, okay, I get it.
But that's how small it is. Like, I've never seen anybody in outside.
It looks. I don't have an iPad with me, of course. It's all downstairs in my bags. But it's like, where are my bags? Probably in the car. But you have a phone, and the phone people update it pretty much yearly, and it has the most up-to-date cameras. And if you're an iPad person, you probably have an iPhone and iCloud. So what do you call it? It syncs everything real quick. So you take a photo on the iPhone and it goes to the iPad or your iCloud. But anyway, go back to on track. But yes, that's my rant for. It's kind of weird having a big tablet.
Yeah, I mean, I've never seen it. Like I said, I've literally never seen anybody like in Starbucks or outside, let alone like with an iPad. I don't know how often I see people with iPad, unless they're like, at Starbucks doing work on it, but never like at a park.
Taking photos for like, oh, okay. I can see if like taking photos like, quickly, if you need to do business stuff, may take a document or I don't know what have you, like reference photos, but
I don't know.
Actually, I've been on tourist places where you see these
people. Yeah.
Oh,
tourists,
yeah.
definitely.
They'll hold up that iPad like, what are you doing?
You're right.
But anyway,
yeah. So
I say that because that's one of the reasons why I might not go with one of these two iPads, because the camera, I mean, I don't know if that's going to be good enough to pay the X amount over. But anyway, go ahead. Whatever you are.
I mean, if we want to talk geek specs, the difference is the Pro has an ultra wide and it's brighter True Tone flash. Those are pretty much the two differences there. The iPad Air, like most of the phones, have more color options. And that's not a big deal to some. Like me, I used to always be space gray. Everything I bought was space gray. But I really like that new, the blue. I know. That blue is nice.
When we edit these videos, we will put in colors and all that. And that'll be, But yes, look at the silver. They have the space gray, which is nice. The rose
Even
gold.
The green is nice.
The green. Ooh, the green. And sky blue. Okay, so I'm gonna
definitely.
I won't do a tangent on the green, but yes, green solid.
You could do a whole video on a tangent.
I personally would go with the silver on each one, but I do like the space gray to be a little bit different. You go rose gold, you're just trying to be super different. Green, okay, you're really out there, and the sky blue is nice actually.
Yeah, I do, and I know most people put cases on them, so sometimes you can't see it. But we know, right? We know deep down under the case.
I'm a naked iPad kind of guy. Besides the keyboard, the nice keyboard that comes, like doesn't come, but that you can buy with these iPads.
Keyboard is sweet. So when it comes to aesthetics, the back is literally the only, to the naked eye, you could tell which is which from looking at the back.
Baby
Something you have
back.
to look. I like looking at the back, but. The other small difference that you have to look closely is the iPad Air still keeps the fingerprint identification, or what do they call that again? That's what they call it, right?
Yeah, it's the finger ID or
something for step.
Oh man, this is really bad. We're Apple people too, and we don't know what it's called. It's Face ID and Touch ID.
Touch ID.
But okay, so let's go into Touch ID versus Face ID.
I particularly
2021.
Yeah, I like Touch ID better still. I wish the new phones had. What was that?
And in 2021, 2022, and everybody knows what happened in 2020 and 2021. We need both. Like most Androids have a Face ID or a facial recognition to unlock the phone or whatever have you, and a Touch ID or a fingerprint ID reader.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind both, obviously.
Yeah, for sure, because with masks and all that, a Face ID doesn't really work that great.
Yeah,
or at all.
Look at you on the ball. I totally forgot about masks. I'm terrible.
Yeah, man. That's 2020. What are you talking about, man?
I know.
If they had that mask, or sometimes like, oh snap.
Oh god, yeah, it gets to be a pain in the ass.
But Face ID is fast when it does work because my problem with Touch ID or any of the fingerprint scanners, even the iPhone is amazing. But if you have your skin start drying out and start cracking and all that, that fingerprint will be slow. But anyway, I digress.
The main thing to take away is don't moisturize your hands. Moisturize.
Not boys and girls. I'm going on these rants because these differences between these iPads is the reason why you might pick one or the other. And
we need a little rant here and there, or else the video will be boring.
This is what I do.
All right. So, like we said, technically they're the exact same size, 10.9 inches to 11. The Air is 10.9. That is not you won't be able to tell, probably unless you had them lined up. So all in all, while Binh snacks on his chips with his chopsticks, aesthetically, they are pretty much identical. Pretty much. So you can't be like, oh, this one looks nice. Or like they look the same.
Even the front. I mean, looking at the iPad models on the Apple website, they're exactly the same. You would never know what one's a Pro and one's an Air.
Yeah.
Like, and if you ask me, I would think the Air was a Pro.
Yeah, unless you like exactly what they look like, then if you saw somebody using it and you walked by, you're like, yeah, that guy's got they got an Air. But the normal person, if you're looking at somebody that hard, you like rethink what you're doing, like stop staring.
Okay, now a tangent. When you see somebody on the streets or, your friends or something, they're having an Apple product. No one really asks what Apple product that is. They know it's an iPhone. Oh, he has an iPhone.
Yeah.
Or that's an iPad. But when it comes to the Android or like Windows stuff, what kind of phone is that? I do. That's in my mind. But it's kind of weird. I never thought about it till now. When it's an Apple product, you don't really question what like generation or what model it is. But when it comes to like Android, it's very evident what it is when you see it.
Yeah. Unless you see someone who has like the smaller iPhones, because they really don't make many. And the only people I know is like my brother. He was so happy when they made the smaller phones again. But we can't get into that on this one. Yeah. We could do another video.
Yeah.
Okay. So after looking at it, people obviously want to know how much they cost. And the Air only has 2 versions. Well, it has a Wi-Fi version and a Wi-Fi and cellular, but they both come in the same denomination, 64 gigs and 256 gigabytes. The Pro comes in 4 each, 128, 256, 512, and 1 terabyte. So the easiest one to compare side by side regarding price is if you purchase the 256 gigabyte Air and the 256 gigabyte Pro. The Air is $749. The Pro is $899. So is $150 enough to make you buy the Pro because of the camera and Face ID? Because we didn't even get into the processor yet. The Air has a better one.
Yeah. Apple is very, at least the iOS software, even iPad OS.
Yeah.
They're very good at user experience and apps run. Unless you start getting into like gaming stuff or like application that uses the devices, these Apple devices to its limits, you won't never notice because it's solid. That's regarding the processor. So I'm not too sure if the A14 and the A12 is a big difference, at least in my perspective, or even a perspective of somebody that just uses these to consume content, like watch YouTube videos, compose an email or whatever. But you mentioned 256. What is the lowest you can get on the iPad Air? I know that they're pretty small.
The iPad Air starts at $599, and that is only 64 gigabytes.
What's the lowest on the iPad Pro 11-inch?
128, and that's $799.
Okay, so that's a $200 difference. So like 64 gigabytes. You said it's 64 for the lowest one?
Yeah, the Air, the low is 64.
You have 2 options, I guess. Yeah, 2 options. 64 at 256. Okay, most people that have iPhones or whatever, no, 64 gigabyte is not big enough for 2021. So you kind of forced into at least 256. The 128 or 256, yes.
Yeah, so usually my baseline. Yeah, 256 is usually my baseline. But this is another good thing to look at too, when comparing 256 to 256. The 128 for the Pro is more expensive than the 256 of the Air by $50. So you can get double the capacity for $50 cheaper.
I think for most people, 256 or 128 is ideal. But it looks like the Air doesn't have a 128, correct?
No.
Yeah,
nope, not at this time.
I would definitely recommend to get at least 256. And well, like I said, it depends on what you use the iPad for. If you plan to use it to edit videos and all that, I'm not sure if 256 is going to be big enough unless you transfer files in and out a lot. That's something to think about. But if you like I said, if you just use it for content consumption, I mean, you can actually get away with the 64 gigabyte one.
Yeah. I mean, if you're going to spend for a terabyte like $1,500 or $1,300, like go right ahead. You'll have your full terabyte internal storage, and you don't have to like transfer. Mm-hmm. But I don't know how many, from all the people that I've watched on YouTube, I don't know how many people actually always edit their videos on their iPad. They're like, I edit on a PC or a Mac, and when I go traveling, I'll take my iPad so I can edit there.
Yes.
They're probably coming home and transferring their data, I would guess.
Yeah, I tried this, gone to like VidCon in 2018. That's when I bought the iPad Pro 12.9 originally. It's to edit videos, but the lack of mouse support back in the day, it was, I don't know, the touchscreen just doesn't feel right editing videos. It's possible, but it's much slower in my opinion, because having a keyboard and having a mouse is much nicer. But now with the iPad OS having mouse support, you can have a Bluetooth mouse or a USB mouse if you get the little dongle. It's definitely a game changer. And the two, well, I know this is probably going into the more than we need to, but if you're editing videos, LumaFusion or Premiere Rush is definitely where it's at. But yeah, mouse support is solid. So that's something. At least I'm gonna try it again whenever I can travel and vlog. We'll do it a second try.
Yep, come out to the side, baby. Come out to the West Coast.
I want to.
So let's see
all the people,
all the beautiful people out here. Mm-hmm. Like Literally. You said, they both use Apple Pencil too. So that's not something you have to be like, oh, they both use it.
Yes.
You could buy the keyboard, the Magic Keyboard or the Smart Keyboard. They both work for both. So you could use them both as a laptop if you wanted to. Mm-hmm. So functionality wise, they are exactly the same. So my opinion, if someone came up to me, my friends, and asked me which one I suggest, even me, if I had to buy one of these, I personally would buy the iPad Air 256 because I'm not taking pictures with my iPad. And from what I remember, Apple still puts the crappiest front-facing camera, right? They both probably have the same terrible 720.
It's who knows? I don't know. The front facing camera, or like the selfie camera is always trash. I don't understand why that thing is. And the newer phones, they definitely got better.
I correct myself. The iPad Air has the FaceTime HD camera.
Ooh.
But the Pros have the true depth camera for the front camera. But they both say 1080p HD video recording, but none of them say like anything else really. So I'm guessing that the true depth camera is a little bit better, but who knows how much better. I mean, you've tested it on yours because yours should have the same one.
Well,
typically the front-facing cameras aren't that good.
I mean, yeah, they just aren't good. I mean,
but again, it's FaceTime. If I'm FaceTiming my friend on my phone or my tablet, I don't really give a shit if it's 720p or 1080p. It's my MacBook Pro that I paid $2,000 for that I would like to have an HD front-facing camera. Like, real. That's another rant for another day. But
yes. Webcams suck. Even if you buy a top tier webcam like I'm using right now, it still looks like trash. It still looks like a webcam. But anyway, that's another video for another day.
But long story short, I personally would probably get the Air because it does everything I need. I don't need the camera. I don't need the front-facing camera.
Oh yeah.
And I know it's not a big deal with the chip. One's newer, one's older. But when I buy stuff, if I'm going to spend like $800 to $1,000, most of the time I'm going to buy the newest model or the one that has the most up-to-date infrastructure. So it might not be a big deal, but I'd purchase that one. So iPad Air for me.
For me, The iPad Air sells me just on the Apple Pencil 2 by itself. That the second gen of the pencil is solid. For me, I mean, the biggest thing is if you need more than 250 gigabytes, then go with the Pro. But at that point, if you go with the Pro, you might as well get a 12.9 fourth gen.
I was just thinking that if you're going to spend the extra money because you need all of that, I would guess that you're going to be using it a whole lot, and you would rather have a bigger screen.
Yeah, because if you look at the 512 and 1 terabyte ones, you're approaching like over $1,000. So if you're trying to say under $1,000, it's definitely the 256 of either side, Pro or Air. And if you save $150, I mean, that's solid. I mean, I really don't see the reason of buying the iPad Pro 11-inch second generation over the iPad Air fourth generation.
Yeah, I mean, don't think
I would never use the cameras. I mean, all the iPads I've ever had over the years, I've never used the back camera to shoot anything. If I did, it was because I wanted to take a picture of a document and I didn't have my phone on me, because I have a bad habit of leaving, like my boss says, all 4 phones at my desk. I have a watch, so that's how it gets me.
All 4 phones.
I don't know. I just don't see the reason to get the iPad Pro 11-inch over the iPad Air. Maybe it might be different if we did the fourth gen 12.9, but I'm going with the Air right now. Definitely 256. 64 gigabyte I don't suggest for anybody unless you just use it to like surf the web. If you surf the web and write emails or whatever have you, watch YouTube videos and Netflix, 64 gigabyte is good enough. But if you start putting photos and videos on it, it's gonna fill up fast.
Yeah, especially with apps too.
Oh yeah, apps that take a lot of space too.
People don't realize how many apps they have. Like even me, I don't remember downloading all these, and then you look and you have like over 50 gigabytes of apps. But yes, so 2 for 2 for the iPad Air. But full disclosure, I want the what is it, 12.9? I want that so bad.
You want third generation? I'll sell you mine.
I want the fourth, but I think the fifth is coming out, I think, this year. Oh man, I got to play with one last weekend with the keyboard.
Yeah.
It's so sweet.
Yeah. So now we can go on a tangent because, the video has already been finished for the verses, but let's go on a tangent about, the iPad Pro, because I used that for, I tried to use it for video editing. I think the worst part of the video editing on the iPad Pro, at least in my experience using it in 2018, my third gen, is the transferring of files from the memory card to the iPad. It was slow. I mean, it wasn't that quick. I mean, I don't know. And I shoot 4K now, so that's even a huge difference. I don't know, man.
Yeah, I'm
gonna have to revisit this when I go on another vacation. And my first vacation is gonna be out west, Disneyland.
That's actually a pretty good video for your page once you get to take your iPad Pro back out.
Yeah,
2018 and 2021, and now you get to use it, like you said, with the mouse.
Yeah, it'll be like a game changer if they brought or allowed, or somehow you can use Mac OS on the iPads, which would be solid. You can have a full version of Premiere Pro and all that, or whatever have you, or Final Cut, whatever you use, because
I think they're going the other way though.
Oh,
looks like they're going the other way, right?
I mean, they go on to ARM processors with the M1 processors, so something's going to be congruent eventually.
One day.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, boy. Well, this is a good video. Well, if you like this video, if you watched to this end, to the bitter end, well, yeah. Make sure you like this video. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you're subscribed and hit that notification bell. Until next time.
Oh, where is it? Subscribe there behind Binh. Over there, or is it over there?
I have a pillow right here that says subscribe. Oh, that's a Canon SL3. Oh yeah, Pikachu.
Product placement.
Pikachu. Yep. Well, thank you for what is that up there? Is that a M50 or is that the?
That's my Sony A7 III. I have it on there for my vlog every day in April. Binh, come on, Binh.
Oh man, yeah. It's what April 2nd. I'm doing real good. So, well, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Until next time. Oh yeah.
Okay, we are recording. Let's take a sip.
I got the chopsticks.
Chopsticks. Oh, no. Choppy the pee-pee.